Hello, my name is Jessica Darling. For those of you that don't know me, I have been asked to share a little bit of my life and about God's grace with you guys. I have been extremely sick for exactly 3 years this month. Through this period in my life of suffering and agonizing pain, there were often times when I did not feel like praising God. But I did not want to fake my praise to God. Instead, God showed me that He wanted me to faith my praise to Him. He is also teaching me that I needed to glance at my circumstances, but to gaze upon Jesus and His amazing grace for me. One of my life verses is, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. Psalm 27:13 and 14. Also during this time of learning and waiting, which is very hard, Jesus became my ultimate focus, and I am coming to know Him in a way I have never before. I say that because before we knew what was really going on with my body physically, I had so many perplexing and compounding painful symptoms. Man, there were so many days that I would have to get rushed to the ER. So many doctors who tried to help, but never knew specifically what I had or why my pain was there. There were so many sleepless nights, not wanting to face tomorrow. There were even a couple times I seriously thought that I was dying. And I thought to myself, Lord, is this it? Are you taking me home? There were so many days where I was in so much physical agony that I would go into my bathroom and beg and scream into a pillow because the pain was so bad. I would ask God, why? Take this away. Why me? Why have you stripped away my life? Why have you taken away so many things and things I love? You've taken away my health. I'm completely bedridden. I can't go to church and be with the people I love. I can't sing. I can't work. I can't serve, which God, you know I love. Lord, please, I'm not strong enough. Again, why me? I feel so much like Job in the Bible. It was all just so confusing. And yet in all that, every day I would hear God saying, even if it was just a whisper, trust me, Jessica. Come to me. Wait on me. And I have a purpose in the midst of this wild storm. There's a verse in Job that says, though He slay me, yet will I trust Him. And that's Job 13, verse 15. He is teaching me to lean harder on Him than I ever thought was possible. My mom once told me a quote that I repeat to myself every day, several times a day, and it says, the greater the need, the greater the grace God will give. And I'll say that again. The greater the need, the greater the grace God will give. And no matter what I may be going through, I am learning to walk by faith and not by how I feel, because God is yoked up with me and He is carrying the heavier load as I keep on moving forward. God's teaching me to cast all my worries, my fears upon Him, and to grow in my confident dependence on His grace to help me. His grace has been given through His Word, which comforts and sustains me and fills me with hope and encouragement for my emotional needs. His grace has been given through countless people, my family, my friends, my health specialists, helping me by supporting me through words of encouragement, cards, gifts, phone calls, and their earnest prayers. God's grace has come through His provision for all my physical and medical needs. God has been incredibly faithful to provide so richly for me. He's also teaching me to pray more earnestly. In some of my most darkest days, those were some of my most intimate times with the Lord. Because I didn't have time for for superficial prayers. It's those heartfelt, honest to God prayers that I needed and I still need now. Also to believe that God hears my every cry and that He's always thinking of me and answering in His best way and His best timing. Faith is the assurance of what we hope for will actually happen. That's Hebrews 11:1. By faith in His grace, I keep moving forward one day at a time, persevering and waiting on Him. I don't know why some people are plagued with tragedy and others suffer little in this life. But I know that all things work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. And I know this, to all those who lean on Him, God offers peace and grace in the midst of every storm. I'm beginning to see that no matter how challenging life circumstances are, that God wants me to stay spiritually connected with Him by pouring out my heart to Him, my worries, my doubts, my fears, learning to trust and hope and believe in His grace to see me through. I see God's people differently through my illness. I am more sympathetic. My heart is filled with more mercy. When someone is going through something hard, I feel like I can relate better to them because God has comforted me and encouraged me so many times that I feel as though I am able to better reach out and comfort them when they're going through something really hard. Now that I know God's grace better, I know that God has a better plan and purpose behind every source of my pain and my discomfort in my life, and that He wants to accomplish special things through my suffering if I remain yielded and trusting in His blessing sovereignty for my life. And there's a verse in 2 Corinthians 4-10 that says, "Through suffering, these bodies of ours continue to share in the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be seen in our bodies." And I know His strength and His grace is being shown through my suffering. With my greater understanding of God's grace, His Word has become more real, more personal. Through my illness, His promises have become more alive to me, more like food to my soul, and more sustaining. And there's a wonderful promise in Lamentations 3:21-24, and it says, "But I still dare to hope when I remember this, the faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is His faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore I will hope in Him." Because of God's grace in my life, I've learned to trust in God deeper, definitely deeper. I talk to God more. I pour out my heart to God more. His presence and His nearness have become a lot more real. I've become less afraid and more at peace in my heart. I will follow